The Vorthak hegemony had ruled the galaxy with an iron fist for 3 millennia, before humanity even discovered fire. Their ships were monuments to destruction, their warriors bred for conquest, and their empire stretched across 10,000 star systems. Then in a single catastrophic war against a coalition of younger species, they fell. Their fleets burned. Their worlds were occupied, and their survivors fled to the dark spaces between stars. For 5,000 years, they waited. They rebuilt. They remembered. When the Vorthak returned to reclaim their empire, they expected to find the same fractured coalition of weak species that had barely managed to defeat them before. Instead, they found something new: humanity. Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Wrath, as the human fleet came into view. These newcomers had somehow united the coalition species under a single banner, the Terran Federation. It was an insult to everything the Vorthak represented. They would be the first to burn. Their ships are peculiar, his tactical officer reported, mandibles clicking nervously, no obvious weapon emplacements, minimal armor plating. They appear to be designed for exploration rather than war. Kethvar's 3 eyes narrowed. A trick. These humans must be more cunning than their pathetic allies. He had studied the intelligence reports. Humanity had only achieved faster-than-light travel 600 years ago, yet somehow they had become the dominant force in this sector. They were clearly a warrior race hiding behind a facade of peaceful exploration. The human fleet commander requested a communication channel. Kethvar granted it, eager to see the face of his enemy before destroying them. A middle-aged human woman appeared on his screen. She had graying hair, kind eyes, and wore what appeared to be a simple blue uniform rather than battle armor. She actually smiled as if greeting an old friend. "I'm Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Federation. I understand you're the Vorthak hegemony. We've heard stories about your people from our allies. You've come a long way." Kethvar's warriors stirred uneasily at her casual tone. This was not how enemies spoke before battle. "I am Admiral Kethvar of the Eternal Fleet. We have returned to reclaim what was stolen from us. Surrender now and your deaths will be swift." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. "I see. Well, Admiral, I'm afraid we can't allow you to attack the Coalition worlds. They're under our protection now. But I'm curious, where have you been all this time? 5,000 years is a long time to hold on to anger." "We have endured," Kethvar roared. "We have survived in the void, kept our strength through discipline and hatred. Every warrior here has sworn an oath to restore the hegemony's glory." "That sounds exhausting," Chen said thoughtfully. "Tell me, do you have families, children? Or has it just been this war and anger for 5 millennia? The question caught Kethvar off guard. What did this human mean? Of course they had bred new warriors. Of course they had maintained their society, although, when was the last time he had heard a child laugh? When had any of them done anything but prepare for this moment? "Enough talk," he snarled. "We are 50,000 strong. Our ships are forged from the hearts of dead stars. We will—" "Admiral," Chen interrupted gently, "you have about 12,000 ships, not 50,000. And they're running on fumes. When did your people last have a proper meal? A real home? Time to just exist without hatred driving every breath?" Kethvar stared at her. How could she know their true numbers? How could she see through their deception so easily? Chen leaned forward, her voice soft. "Here's what we're going to do. You're going to surrender your weapons to us. In return, we're going to give you something your people haven't had in 5,000 years. A chance to remember what you're fighting for instead of just what you're fighting against." "You mock us." "No, Admiral. I'm offering you mercy, but not the mercy of a quick death or gentle imprisonment. The mercy of showing you what you could become if you let go of all this pain. We will never surrender." "I know," Chen said sadly. "That's why we're not going to fight you." The tactical display showed something impossible. The human fleet was retreating? No, not retreating. They were creating a perimeter around empty space as if guarding something that wasn't there. What trickery is this? Chen's image was replaced by a broader view. Ships began emerging from hyperspace. Not warships, but massive vessels Kethvar didn't recognize. They moved toward his fleet with no weapons powered, no shields raised. "Those are colony ships, Admiral," Chen's voice explained. Each one contains about 10,000 civilians from various Federation worlds. Men, women, children, elderly folks, artists, teachers, farmers, engineers. They're going to surround your fleet. What game do you play? No game. If you want to restore your empire through violence, You'll have to start by killing civilians. Lots of them. People whose only crime is existing in your way. Families having dinner. Children playing games. The elderly sharing stories. The colony ships moved into position around the Vorthak fleet. Through the viewports, Kethavar could actually see them. Families pressed against the windows, not in terror but in curiosity. A small human child waved at his flagship. "This is psychological warfare," Kethavar accused. "No," Chen replied. "This is giving you a choice. Fire on us and you become the monsters everyone remembers you as. Prove that 5,000 years of suffering taught you nothing except how to spread more suffering." Kethavar's hand hovered over the weapons control. His warriors waited for the command. The child in the viewport was still waving, now joined by others. He could see adults holding babies, teenagers playing some sort of game, elderly beings sharing what looked like a meal. Or, Chen continued, you can choose to remember that empires aren't built on fear alone. They're built by people who want something better for their children than what they had themselves. Your empire fell because it was built on conquest. But you could build something new. Something that lasts not because people fear it, but because they choose it. The bridge was silent except for the hum of machinery. Kethavar stared at the innocent faces surrounding his fleet of vengeance. For 5,000 years he had dreamed of this moment. Of righteous destruction. Of enemies cowering before his might. He had never imagined they would refuse to cower. Minutes passed. Hours. His warriors began looking to him with questions in their eyes. The colony ships remained, their passengers going about their daily lives within sight of weapons that could obliterate them in seconds. Finally, Kethavar's hand moved away from the weapons console. "Admiral Chen," he said slowly, we wish to discuss terms, not of surrender, but of possibility." On the view screen, Chen smiled that same gentle smile. "I was hoping you'd say that, Admiral. Welcome back to the galaxy. Let's figure out how to make it better together." As the first Vorthak warriors began powering down their weapons, many realized that humanity hadn't defeated them with superior firepower or cunning tactics. They had done something far more terrifying. They had reminded them what it felt like to have something to protect instead of something to destroy. The age of conquest was over. The age of building had begun.